Hello,
What
Robert.
is, yeah, hey Art. What is good, everybody? We are rolling, and this is Robert, this is Art Brown, and this is Station Square Podcast. So, yeah, this is, and this is common for this podcast, where this is another one that I've had in mind for, gosh, since last year, I want to say. Man,
Yeah.
it's been a minute, and it certainly has been a wild time. So thank you so much that, we're finally here, and we're just gonna chat and chill about cartoons, voice acting, just pretty much take our minds off of all the craziness that has just been happening around the world. So I really do appreciate you being here.
What craziness? Everything's normal. Nothing
Yeah,
to be upset about. Don't
yeah,
look over there. It's all normal. Stop. Relax.
yeah. Don't worry, just don't pay no heed, no mind, no attention. But yeah, I'm
And
just
today's episode is brought to you by Spam. Spam, 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 spam. Lovely
uh
spam.
yes. Now I know we're gonna have a good interview today. But yeah, thank you
Yes,
so
and thank
much.
you for inviting me to this party.
Yeah, the pate. Man, I don't see any parrots around, which is unfortunate, but
Oh, no dead parrots. That's good.
no, for those that don't get it. For those that get it,
Yeah.
you're my friend forever, but BFF. So, yeah, I've been really excited to do this, and just this is my second interview for the day because we are still going strong and still got a lot of other stuff to do after this. So, let's just say I don't really get much sleep, so in case you couldn't already tell. So
Sleep. Who needs that?
exactly.
By the
But
way,
yeah,
a very important question. Have you eaten spam? Do you like spam?
I have once or twice.
Hmm. I think I have never eaten spam, although that is one of my favorite Monty Python sketches.
Yeah, yeah. For those that are don't know, it's money. But yeah, because
Spam, 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 eggs and spam.
yeah, great Monty Python. We'll definitely talk about that in a little bit. But along the something else that you got behind you, so which is gonna be pretty neat. So thank you once again, Art, for joining me on this lovely almost afternoon for me, afternoon on your end, I presume.
Yeah, yeah. You're in the lovely
Pacific.
Pacific as
Yeah,
well.
Los
Yes.
Angeles,
Los
LA,
Angeles, baby.
Los
Hollywood, baby.
Angeles. Oh yeah. But yeah, we're just now out of the literally out of the fire, so that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
In the
So
frying pan.
yeah. I mean, we're still in a frying pan, if you know what I mean. But
And we've been getting a good amount of rain recently.
yeah, there's
Um,
that.
the rest of the country is seeing is seeing apocryphal storms. What's the word I'm searching for? Seeing gigantic storms, similar to the apocalypse, but I can't think of the adjective at the moment.
Yeah,
Um,
we're just seeing a
s-
lot of catastrophe pandemonium,
yeah,
something like
exactly.
that.
It
But
turns out climate change is real. It's
yeah, who would
science.
have? Yeah, who would have thunk it? But
I
anyway,
always loved the way that David Letterman, in his sardonic style, answered the question about climate change. He
yeah,
said, "You know, the scientists have been studying this climate change thing for quite a while, and it turns out ice melts."
yeah, more you know.
Yeah, the more you know, exactly.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot to talk about, but not really a whole lot of time. So we'll just jump right into this.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, because I know that you've been really busy with audiobook stuff, but how is your 2025 so far?
So far so good. I try to consciously focus on the positive, on what I things I can change. And I think we could all agree that there's a lot in our world right now that is not so changeable, or it's not so. So, we focus on what we can do. Um, yes, I won't go there.
Yeah, yeah, trust me. If you want to watch us dudes just argue about politics, this is not the podcast for that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, just telling you this right now, but I mean, trust me, as much as I really would love to, but no. I just wanted to talk about cartoons and just other weird nonsense.
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Um,
let
but I will say that I do come from the Bernie Sanders branch,
yeah,
so he's kind of my spirit animal.
I
Um,
think he's all of our spirit animals.
cartoons, man.
But yeah, and speaking of cartoons, let's talk about your humble little beginnings because I've known you, I've seen you around, and we've kind of talked a little bit about, the Looney Tunes and stuff like that. But how would you say was the pivotal moment where you decided, you know what, I think I kind of wanted to pursue this as a career. So let's hear your story.
Yeah, sure. Well, first I'll mention that I wrote a book on cartoons. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's on Amazon and all of your major book buying venues,
Buy it.
and it's called Everything I Need to Know I Learned from Cartoons. And I would buy it if I hadn't written it, but I did write. And I also recorded an audiobook of it because I do audiobooks. Um, but it's a fun book, and I think if you like cartoons, the history, and it's kind of a mashup of the self-help New Age movement, seeing wisdom everywhere, including in cartoons. So that's kind of the point of it. Um, but I have been a professional actor since I was a wee bairn, since I was a kid. It's the only thing I've ever wanted to do, and I've come to believe that it's a calling, and that many of us, particularly in the arts, because it doesn't make sense as a business for the most part, being in the arts, but so it has to be something else, and I think it's a calling in a similar way that a minister or somebody in the religious field has a calling. That also often doesn't make sense business wise, but it makes sense and that something you were put here to do something. Um, and my first inspiration was a comedian named Red Skelton, who was very popular in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and lived on till the 90s, I think. Um, but I distinctly remember I must have been 5 or 6, and it was a life decision moment. I remember thinking, why would someone, like I understood that you have to get a job and work when you grow up. Why would someone want to do anything other than having fun and making other people laugh? So that was, and I've stayed true to my mission. I've always loved cartoons, and I have a picture of Mel Blanc looking down on me in my studio. Um,
So
yeah, what's
sweet.
cooking, Doc? I do a lot of his voices, although not on the level of the people who are working for Warner Brothers. But um, yeah, I can do a good Bugs and Daffy and Porky and um, like that. So I don't know if that answers your question at all.
Oh no, it does. It kind of look, we ramble. That's pretty much is the nature of the show.
Yeah, I'm a rambling man. Lord, I
Yeah,
was born a rambling man.
man. And I'm just like when you mentioned Mel Blanc, I
Uh,
remember the first time, like with my history of cartoons of Looney Tunes, especially because growing up, I used to watch a lot of because I kind of come from the generation of like 90s, 2000s. So, of course, we
sure.
had the Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, way back in the day.
Ren and Stimpy, man.
Oh my God.
Stimpy, you idiot!
You
I'm sorry, Ren.
idiot. Oh
Happy,
my.
happy, joy, joy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I pretty much came from that generation and I started learning more about how did they make the shows that I grew up watching? How did they do it? And in
Yeah,
the case of like, and I know that Ren and Stimpy is also a very well documented case of just, a show that was both groundbreaking, revolutionary, and it was also a show that was definitely, how can I put this? You
bad
ever watch a
taste.
Stanley? It was insane, like literally just insane. Consider it to be like, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of other people consider it as such, but it's like you walk into a Stanley Kubrick production and I don't think I need to get into more about how that's
Yeah,
like. Yeah. But it still is like a show where I don't think if it wasn't for Ren and Stimpy, we wouldn't have gotten shows like SpongeBob or Cartoon
sure.
Network, Dexter, Powerpuff, a lot of the shows that we had way back in the day. But and then for Cartoon Network, they also had a lot of those old classic cartoons before they had the Boomerang blog. So we would just watch like, Tom and Jerry, Popeye, Hanna-Barbera, Looney Tunes. I think Rocky and Bullwinkle was also on there at some point.
Rockin' Bill, Jay Ward, very
Yeah, the Jay
subversive.
Ward stuff. Yeah. I mean, like, it's really interesting when you watch these shows and then you grow up, as an adult, then you start really loving the humor because when you're a kid and you watch Looney Tunes, Hanna-Barbera, Jay Ward, you just like the characters and a lot of the silly situations they're in. But when you're an adult, you start getting more of like the
Yeah,
more sophisticated, like the humor that they were kind of throwing there, like witty
exactly.
dialogue, and you just
Yeah,
kind of
and the
appreciate.
best
Yeah.
animation gives something for the kids and then something for the adults.
Exactly. This is why I
And
still
Looney
love.
Tunes were superb at that.
Exactly. Animaniacs was also another one that I
Yeah.
just am thinking of, and oh yeah, speaking of Animaniacs,
Hello,
yeah,
nurse.
hello nurse. um, just a quick little plug in. Rob Paulson, Yakko, Pinky, and the
Oh
characters that he
God,
plays on
he's
the
the
show.
hero.
Yeah, he's actually pitching a TV show, so if you want to check out his Instagram, definitely do that right now and show
Oh,
your love
we'll
and
do.
support.
We'll
So
do.
yeah, just like quick little plug in there. But yeah, I have to say the cast of anime, pretty much any show that was directed by the Andrea Romano is bound to be just spectacular. I
I'll
mean,
tell you a little something about Animaniacs. When I moved
yeah,
here from New York in 2018, and my
okay,
first apartment was in Burbank, and I could walk to the corner and see the Warner Brothers water tower. So I would
nice,
tell
yeah,
everybody, I look down the road, and if the Animaniacs get out, I
yeah,
can run
Yakko
over there and
Wacko
help them.
die, yeah.
When TikTok hit, and it was
Oh my
really like
God.
homegrown stuff. I made a little video of me standing with the water tower behind me. I said, "Hello, nurse," and then I turned around. There's a water tower, and I got like thousands and thousands of views. It's like,
Wow,
okay,
yeah, that's TikTok for you.
yeah, exactly.
But
Um,
yeah,
but yeah, so I've also been a comedian. I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in New York.
mm,
Worked in show business my whole life. A lot of musical theater, a lot of comedy, stand up, improv, a lot of writing. It's got to come out of me. The expression. I can't stop it.
yeah. I was also gonna go back to Mel Blanc because
Yes,
he was
Mel.
actually the yeah, because growing up and watching, all these cartoons, and then I would just watch Tom and Jerry, the Tex Avery stuff back to back to back.
I
But
love
then
Tex Avery.
yeah, some of my all-time faves. So I,
You know what? I'm the hero of this picture.
yeah, boy, yeah, back
I
in the
love
good
me
old
some
days.
Droopy.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites too.
Yeah.
Screwy Squirrel was another one.
Oh God, yeah.
A lot of the characters. But when I was watching the Looney Tunes as a kid, it didn't really register to me that because I think back in the day, like when Walt Disney was doing, his show, the cartoon shorts, because a lot of voice actors weren't really getting a lot of credit. So this is the reason
Right.
that I'm mentioning this is because this is plays into a huge part of why Mel Blanc still is such an instrumental figure in the voiceover business is that he demanded credit or no, I think it was because of his contract with Warner Brothers that, voice characterization, Mel Blanc. So when you watch a Bugs Bunny short or Daffy Duck, you know that he did the majority of the voices. I mean, Elmer was Arthur Q. Bryan, and
Right.
I mean, a lot of the female ones are. I mean, he did occasionally fill in for some of the females just because it's funny, but yeah, but he was the one who was pretty much considered to be the Looney Tunes guy even though we had other voice actors. But Mel really was the one that, you know, I didn't really know that, like, for Bugs or Yosemite Sam or Foghorn and all these Marvin and all these characters, I didn't really register that it was one guy. But then growing up and having like a keen ear for voices, I'm like, oh, okay, so this one character kind of sounds a little like Bugs, but it's it's different because Daffy and Sylvester are kind of pretty much the same voice, but
But
it's
there's
all
a
in the
difference.
acting. It's a
Yeah.
difference because Sylvester is like I think is a frontalist, but then Daffy is kind of like but then it's not even with that, it's the different personalities. Like Daffy is
Let's
kind
hear
of
your
like
Sylvester.
Fufferin Thuckatash, I found a Tweety bird. And then there's
Oh, get out
Daffy.
of here, you bad putty
The
tat.
battle putty tat. Yeah, his was kind of sped up, but
And
I
then you
think
had
what I
June Foray, who didn't get
yeah,
credit.
June. She's another
Yeah.
one. Oh my God,
And
June.
she's doing
Yeah.
the old woman who takes care of Tweety Bird.
Now, Sylvester, you'll be a good little cat
Yeah,
and leave
Granny,
that
Witch
bird alone.
Hazel.
Yeah, lady, whatever you say.
Yeah, Fuffer and Thuckatash.
Fluffer and Thuckatash.
Yeah. And then for Daffy, it's like, you're despicable. I just spit up my little pop filter.
Yeah, and they changed Daffy's character in the really early Looney Tunes. He
Yeah,
was just Daffy. He was just
he
crazy,
really
you
was
know.
Daffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
Which they are bringing him back in the. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the new, like, the Earth Looney Tunes movie that
Yes,
is going to be coming
they've
out.
returned to that Daffy
Yeah, in the
element of
new
his
Looney Tunes shorts,
personality.
they're bringing back that Daffy from like the 40s before. I mean, I love don't get me wrong, the Chuck Jones like 50s, 60s Daffy that we got who's like the greedy, but then it's understandable
You're
because
despicable.
despicable, because Bugs ends up taking all the credit. So Daffy, it's understandable and it's more, I guess, relatable, but I always loved the Daffy who is just kind of like wacky, happy-go-lucky, and I'm really glad that they're bringing back that version into the new, Looney Tunes stuff.
Classic
So
Daffy and Bugs is
classic
the one where
Daffy.
that
Yeah.
they're having like a tap dance off in front of the audience.
Yeah, that cart. I think that was
Yeah,
Frayling, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's how I knew about the directors like Avery, text before he went to MGM. There's Bob Clampett, McKimson, Frizz Frayling, Chuck Jones. Like, I pretty much know a lot of the directors. And the story man, like I said, I do a lot of research in my spare time. If I'm not voice acting, I'm just doing like my cartoon little,
I gotta
Wikipedia.
send you a copy of my book. You'd love it.
Yeah, you definitely do. I
Yeah.
definitely would love to read it. But yeah, Looney Tunes was my introduction to Mel Blanc and also just how the voiceover business just kind of works. I've had a couple of people on my show, like I've talked with Chuck McKibben, who was Mel Blanc's I
Oh,
think he was
cool.
his personal agent, and of course Bob Bergen, who is now
Yeah,
Porky and a lot of the other.
yeah.
He does like a lot of the Warner Brothers and Disney stuff now, so he's also another one that you should definitely check out. So I'm
Bob's a
just listing
legend.
off.
Love Bob.
Yeah, Bob. I mean, I remember the first time I spoke with Bob, and it was like, oh my gosh, he actually gives like this. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. He gives like a no nonsense approach to students, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to learn from him because a lot of the other, no offense. I mean, I would just hear from folks like, oh, you got to do this, and just da 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 da. But I just like somebody who is willing to be honest and doesn't sugarcoat anything. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate if you're watching this, Bob. Hats off, love you, buddy. But yeah,
Yeah, we all have a style of teacher that works best
exactly.
with our style of learning.
That's learning. Yeah,
I'm with you. I tend to like a no BS type of
no
teacher.
BS. Yeah, that's kind of me too. So yeah, I kind
Do
of wanted
you,
to also.
speaking about Mel, by the way, one of the first things I did when I came out here is made a
Yeah.
pilgrimage to his grave. And
Hmm.
do you know what it says on his gravestone?
That's not all, folks.
That's all,
That's all,
folks.
folks. Yeah. Like Porky Pig. Yeah.
But
Very fitting.
do you know the story of Mel Blanc's license plate?
I not really because I know about his car accident, but not the license plate
License
stuff.
plate. He got one of the first personalized license plates. You know, you see them all the time now.
Yeah.
But in the 1950s, this was not really known. And he walked into DMV and he said, "I want a license plate that says KMT, KMT." And so the person at the DMV, well, you can't advertise a radio station. I said, no, no, it's not a radio station. Well, what is it? Well, it means something reverential in Hebrew because he and I are of the same tribe.
Oh
And they said,
yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
reverential in Hebrew, sure. It didn't mean that at all. It stood for the Yiddish phrase "Kes mein tuchus," kiss my ass.
Wow.
So I would
Yeah,
drive around Hollywood with the license plate.
that would be something Bling would do. Trust me, I've heard so many crazy stories about.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Also, another voice actor that I've really come to fall in love with, well, there's two. It's Dawes Butler, who does a lot of who also
Oh,
did some
God.
Looney Tunes, and also he is one of the main, him alongside Don Messick are like kind of like the go-to guys for early days of Hanna-Barbera. But the third other person, I know I've already mentioned two, but the one other one is Paul Frees. I mean, come
Paul
on.
Frees is great. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ghost Host and Ludwig. I would have never known it was the same actor, but yeah, he was. I think I consider Mel, Dawes, and Paul to be like, ooh, what's a good analogy? I'm thinking of a band, but okay, you know what? Let's just say the Beatles are like the Groucho brother. Like they're just kind of like very dynamic in their own way. Like Mel was kind
Yeah.
of like the most
OG, baby.
OG baby. Dawes was kind of like the most. How can I put him? Like Dawes is really he was the one who really knows, and he actually coached a lot of the
Yeah,
top
he
voice
coached a
talent,
lot of people. He had
like
a
Bob
studio out
Bergen,
here.
Bill Farmer, Corey Burton,
Nancy
Nancy
Cartwright.
Cartwright, Bart
Yep,
Simpson. Don't have
yep.
a cow, man. So yeah, he pretty much coached a lot of these people, and then
Oh, my
Paul was kind of like
darling. Oh, my darling.
Darlin. Yeah, I guess Paul was kind of the most like the most volcanic, or if that's the right word, because he had like the biggest. His range was unbelievable. Like I said, Pillsbury Doughboy, Ludwig, Boris Badenov, and also the Ghost Host from the
Boris
Haunted
bad enough,
Mansion.
right? Paul Frees did
Yeah,
that.
since we were mentioning Jay Ward, like I
We
gotta
must
be
kill
mentioning
moose
Corey.
and squirrel. And then Jane
Yes,
Foray as Natasha.
identity. Hey, hey, hey.
By
Yeah,
the
let's go,
boys.
Natasha. Yes. And God, what a voice he had. Like, listening to his regular voice is like, yeah, you could just kind of tell, like, you don't even know if it's his real voice or if he's just doing one of his characters, honestly. Same with Mel or
Yeah.
Dawes. So yeah, people just had these really unique, interesting voices. And I mean, we're still getting them today. I mean, just recently met Charles Martinet for Super Mario. He has a very distinct voice. People like Jim Cummings or Tom Kenny, Rob
Yeah.
Paulson,
Yeah.
all the Animaniacs, like they all have very unique instruments. That's something that I've come to learn along the way with voice acting is that our voices are kind of like our own unique instruments. If they go out, if it's out of tune, then ooh, we're kaput.
And
Which
it
fun,
all comes back to acting. It's acting.
exactly, acting.
You
Yeah,
know, I started out on the stage. It's the same, it's a different venue, but it's the same core skills
yeah. Which
that
is
you're
why
using yourself in service of a story. You're telling a story through the character.
Yeah, which is why for Mel Blanc, with all those characters that he did, the one that often gets him is Yosemite Sam. And when you listen, it's like, oh, yeah. Because I think he had to record during the weekends, from what I've heard, or something like that. Because he doesn't, I think he kind of saves like that, the Yosemite Sam recordings for like maybe sometime in the weekend or so. Because that is not an easy character. Trust
No,
me,
it
I've done
rips your
it.
throat out.
It really
And
does. Like, yeah,
the last professional thing he did was Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
yeah.
And he said in an interview that he did every character, that he's known for except Yosemite Sam, because at that point it was just ripping his throat off. He
Yeah.
wouldn't have been able to do Bugs and Daffy.
Yeah, because I've also found out that for Yosemite Sam, which, like I said, a lot of voice actors have taken the mantle onto it, and they've all done a splendid job. I mean, recently, Maurice LaMarche, who is the brain, he also did Sam on a couple of stuff, and Fred Tatasciore is another great one.
Hmm.
But for Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I think I'm trying to remember who it was, but it wasn't Mel, but Joe Lasky. Yeah, that's who it
Hmm.
was.
Hmm.
And he's another one who left us way too
You
soon.
know your artist. That's great.
Yeah, because his name literally just came to me because I remember in an interview for Joe, he confirmed that he did Yosemite Sam like my biscuits are burning. So that was it.
Get
Yeah.
out of here, you long-eared varmint.
Varmint. Yeah. That is a really tough one. I think I've auditioned for Yosemite on one project, but yeah. I mean, Lord knows I wouldn't be able to do it for that many hours. So, yeah, but
Yeah.
talking about my love of cartoons, that's kind of what got me into voiceover because I'm learning about all these people and how they do it because it's not just like, oh, how do I do their voice? It's like, no, just I think what Bob really said it best is that he absorbs it like a sponge, and that's something that I've learned how to do because I would just research, oh, what did they how did they do it? Getting to the place where they are, just learning more about the who's who of the business, learning about the casting directors, agencies, pretty much
Yeah.
knowing the who's who of showbiz.
Oh, that's
That's pretty
awesome.
much how I did.
That's a great strategy. Success leaves clues.
Exactly.
And it's a good idea to read biographies of people we admire. Like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
How did they get there?
I would just read biographies of, not just for voice actors, but just people like Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, as I was just talking about in a previous interview I just did before this, and learning about how they did it. Or just even learning the greats like Marlon Brando or like Meryl Streep and so on and so forth, Anthony
Yeah.
Hopkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a nerd when it comes to film and TV, y'all.
Oh, cool. Me too.
Yeah, but going into your own career, let's see. What is something that, in all of the years that you've been in the industry in showbiz, what is often, oh my gosh, if we were to talk about your best favorite anecdotes of working with so many people, we'd be here for like hours on it. But what is something that has been very pivotal to you in all the years that you've been doing this?
Well, making the transition from New York to LA in 2018, and then
Yeah.
starting over here. I had never been to LA before, so it was a real throw my hat over the fence moment. If you're familiar with that metaphor.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and Then I was doing some live theater out here. I was doing a show called Old Jews Telling Jokes, which is exactly what it sounds like. And it
Yeah,
was so
pretty
much fun
much.
to do. It was a review and all the old jokes, it was totally adult. And then COVID happened and, we had two people in the audience. So it's like, okay, what do I do now? So, I went back in the closet, but I brought a microphone.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, COVID just really changed the landscape of so many things, but
Yeah, and I saw it as
yeah,
an opportunity. Okay,
exactly.
I've been wanting to do voice work for so many years, and so many other things have gotten away. We all have things that I'm going to get to that one day, but
Yeah.
now it's like, okay, go back to your room and think. I mean, that's basically what happened. Is Mother Nature told all of us, go back to your room and think about what you've done.
Pretty much. And just panic about toilet paper, just buy supplies, and then just go back to your room and think about what you've done.
By the way, I
Oh,
hope you have all your vaccines, brother.
oh, just trust me. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we are fully
yeah.
prepared for whatever comes next. Trust us.
Because science is real.
Yeah. But I there was something else that I kind of was gonna bring up, but no,
Yes,
because
yes.
I think it was kind of like after you've decided that you wanted to do voice acting, for so many years, and now look, I guess there's one silver lining that I wanted to bring up when it came to the pandemic. It's like a lot of folks that are just getting their start. I know somebody. I'm not sure if I had them on the show too, but I know a friend of mine who has been doing voice acting since like literally since 2020 and now and then the previous guest that I just had on just started around 2023, so I think about 2 years or so now, and they're already booking like AAA video games, audiobooks, promo, so they're kind of getting out there, so you should, if I remembered the name, I'm so sorry, but
That's okay.
definitely check them out and hire them because they're going places. Just a quick little plug in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been in show business my entire life, and
Yeah,
some people, they jump in and then they rocket to success, and some people take a little longer.
yeah,
And to a degree, it's a roll of the dice, but that's the smallest part of it. What we can control is two things primarily. I think always focus on getting better like giving your best and getting better and getting better and getting better, and then marketing, because it's a business. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of us
Hmm.
creative types, yeah, I don't want to do the marketing part. I just want to play. Okay, well, I appreciate that, but you're not going to play for long if you don't market, because
Yeah.
it's
Hmm.
like you got to bring your goods to the market and tell people about it.
Yeah. It's not like, look, voice acting is fun and all, but there's a lot of different tools. If you watch an interview that I did with Mark Catchman, he talks about the five, it's like building up a table. You have to have these essential tools if you want to still
Yeah,
have this longevity and voice, or not just even with that, but just being in entertainment in general. It's a lot of training, preparation, updating your stuff. There's
it's a
so
business.
much stuff. It really is a business. So that's why it's show business or business show for a reason. And you gotta, and you really have to stay on top of the game. Like, do your homework, the research, what's new, what's recent. I mean, TikTok, like you mentioned before, is a good, area that's kind of been, exploding, but I don't know what's been going on with that as of now because apparently Mr. Musk yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much about it, but yeah,
Boo, boo.
boo. This is why politics. Here's my takeaway on that. It's like if you want to discuss something that's very important to you, I mean, I can't really control what people post on social media. I mean, there's been cases where it has actually rail end careers, but look, you do what it is, what you can with your social media, like Facebook and all this other stuff, but yeah, that's why for me personally, if it's something that really means a lot to me, I'll post about it. But most of the time, 90% of the time, I'm just kind of posting about like, voice acting stuff, business, or something that I've learned today, or something that you can do to, protect your mind and your sanity out of everything that's been happening, because I'm all about that. I mean, I understand why people post, stuff that's been going on right now because it's not something that could be swept under the rug of like, oh, it's just 4 years. Well, yeah, but it's gonna be 4 years of just turmoil and just division, so
Yeah,
much other stuff that's just been happening. So it's just trust me, the times to really stand together is really right now, where we're
absolutely.
just gonna be facing an uncertain future. This is why somebody pointed out to me recently, like depression is the past, but anxiety is the future. Where if you think about the past, you'll start being like, oh my gosh, times were so much better, like back in the old days, or the anxiety is worrying about what's going to be happening in the future. My best piece of advice, it's worry and think about what you're doing right now. What's something that you're the most grateful for? Gratitude. Just stuff that we're fully in control of in this moment right now. That's my best piece of advice. And I know I kind of went
Yeah,
on a
yeah. And
tangent.
no, 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 that's great. I agree 100%. And I've always liked the adage that worry is a waste of imagination. And we
Yeah,
all do it. I
preach
do it.
it.
And,
Yeah,
sometimes I'm grateful to say I notice that I'm worrying and I can stop myself.
true.
Um, because we're really just imagining. We most of the time we don't really know that the worst is going to happen.
Yeah,
Um, but I also, for me, it's focusing on gratitude, focusing on what I can get done, focusing on giving me my best, and at the same time, not being an ostrich, not hiding my head in the ground, where we're
true.
facing an unprecedented assault on our civil rights, on our,
Yeah,
the and it's catastrophic, and I find if I do focus on it, yeah, I can get upset and depressed. So I don't want to let these people live in my head rent free. At the same token, I'm not going to be quiet about it. I'm of the well, I believe in standing up and speaking out. And I can't say that's for everybody, but I wouldn't want to look back and say I kept my mouth shut because I was too timid. And so I'll keep speaking up for what's happening in our country right now.
yeah.
And we could do another hour or so on that.
Oh, yeah, trust me. I would love to do a follow-up with, like, talking about the real stuff, but I think for right now, I think this is kind of like a good note to end on. Or, one last bit of advice. I guess just binge watch Monty Python because, come on. Good old British comedy, they always know how to lift our spirits.
What are some of your favorite Python sketches?
Oh, some of my favorite. Definitely the Dead Parrot one because it's iconic. Spam, 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 spam. The silly walks. I like to bite the cheese, and one other one. I don't know if I could say it. It's not even from the show, but it's from one of the movies. I don't know if I can even say it,
Say it,
but
say it, say it, say it, say it, say it.
the biggest dick. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I have a great friend in Rome named Biggest Dickus.
Yes. He has a name, you know.
He has a
Corny.
wife, you know. He has a
He has a
wife.
wife. He has a
Would you
wife.
like to know his wife's name? In
Cornelius Buttockis.
no, Incontinentia buttocks.
Buckets.
My favorites
Classic.
have to be. I'd like to buy an argument, please.
Yes, the argument.
Would you
Or
like the 5 minute or the full course?
yes. Ding 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 ding. Good night. Good night. Yeah.
No
My,
one
I could go.
expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Precision. They expected us. They expected all of us. But beware of the rabbit. It's yes. Beware of the giant bunny. But
I did an audiobook 2 years ago. It was a British murder mystery. I took it on. She hired me. And so
nice.
you know the narrator is somewhat sedate and RP, but there's a bunch of scenes taking place in the local pub where they're talking about the events of the murder. And I always had like a Monty Python lady and a pensioner. Well,
Yeah.
I've always hated her. I thought she was trash the minute she came to our town. Well, I don't like her either. I think she's awful. So much
Man,
fun to do.
classic. But yeah, I guess stick around for the.
Send you the.
Yeah, so we are back and we are just now recording and we are just kind of talking a little bit about, just exporting just when it's all finished. So we should be good. No, like it's not lost, no tech issues. So yeah, let's finish this. Let's see here. So we discussed our love of Monty Python. Oh my goodness, like if I were to meet Rob and Mo, like, Animaniacs, I think we would just kind of go off on just quotes for hours because I think Pinky is kind of based on just Rob's love of Monty Python. So, yeah, the more you know, folks, the more you know.
Pinky, yeah.
Yeah, we just always love the mouse. Knife! Yeah.
What are we going to
What are we
do
gonna do
tonight,
tonight,
Brain?
Brain? Try to
Same
take
thing
over the
we do
world, Pinky.
every night.
Oh, yeah, that Orson Welles, man, just gets me every time.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely Orson Welles.
Yeah, and also Vincent Price a little,
Little
somewhat.
Vincent Price in there for sure.
Yes. I think I remember the best thing that I remember Vincent Price for was that, oh my gosh, he did a Coca-Cola commercial where he was dressed up as this bear. And he was in the Great Mouse Detective as Ratigan. One of my all-time favorite
I
Disney.
I just finished a children's book that has to do it's a bunch of animals on a journey. One of them is an ape who speaks English, a chimp, and his friend is a king cobra. And because they didn't tell me not to, I voiced the king cobra as Peter Lorre because that's what his
Oh my
dialogue sounded
God,
like.
yeah. Good old Peter Lorre.
Don't you understand? Rick, you've got to help me. Help me,
Yeah.
Rick.
Yeah, so when people ask me like, "Oh my gosh, it sounds like Ran Hoek," no, it's just Peter Lorre,
Yeah,
just
Ren
as the
Hoek is
Chihuahua.
Peter Lorre.
Yeah, you fat bloated
Stimpy,
idiot.
you idiot.
Hello, Stimpy.
Hello, Stimpy.
Wake up so I can murder you.
They wouldn't even let me take my collection of human heads.
Human heads, I told you, human heads. Yeah,
They're driving me sane.
insanity. Yeah, but speaking of Vincent, I think he also did the Haunted Mansion.
Well, he did the famous ending on Thriller.
He did, yeah, with Michael
Darkness
Jackson.
falls
Yes.
across the land. The
Yeah.
midnight hour is close at hand.
Yeah, I think Maurice LaMarche has also talked about this, but the outtakes for the champagne wine commercial just always it just sends me every single
Oh, you mean
time.
Orson Welles? Yeah.
Yeah, Orson Welles. Yeah, for that. It's like, ah, the French
Oh, yeah, yeah.
champagne.
There's a Paul Masson wine, and there's one famous
Parmesan
one where he's
wine.
so clearly drunk.
Yeah, it's like, ah, the French champagne, full of wine goodness.
Orson Welles said, "I started at the top in show business and worked my way to the bottom."
Hmm. I mean, he gave us Citizen Kane. I don't know
Oh,
how you can
yeah.
top that.
The Third Man, and you know,
Yeah, so many great films.
if you've ever seen his Falstaff, there's a film called Chimes at Midnight.
Mm.
It just, and I love Shakespeare too, so
Yeah.
the best Falstaff you'll ever see.
Okay. I kind of get the two mixed up, but Marlon Brando is another fun one to just whip out every so often.
Yeah.
Like, "Ma, I'm gonna make him an offer that he couldn't refuse." Yeah.
I could have been someone, Charlie. It was you.
I really could
I
have
could
been
have been a
somebody.
contender instead of
Yeah,
what I am, a bum.
but
Let's face it, Charlie.
yeah, the younger Marlon Brando often gets overlooked where it's like, and you know the character Mr. Jinx from like Pixie from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Hanna
yeah.
Barbera stuff. Yeah, it's pretty much is Marlon Brando where it's like, kind of found Starla in the middle of the streetcar,
Yeah, and that's
yeah.
Jaws Butler.
Yeah, Dawes Butler doing Marlon more exaggerated, which is why, look, I always say to people, if you do a bad impersonation of a character or an actor that you like, just tweak it and turn it, and that just makes a new character. No one will ever know.
Yeah, well, when I do an audiobook, I cast it beforehand,
Okay.
and for a smaller character, I'll do a dead-on impression, but for larger
Yeah.
characters, get the essence of them, their rhythm and their intention. One of my favorite characters to do if needed, and I did it in a detective novel recently, a very uptight, persnickety theater owner. I use Jonathan Harris, the original Dr. Smith from Lost in
Wow.
Space.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes, Mr. You dear boy, you shall be here for the
Yes,
next
begone, my
Yes,
dear boy.
begun. Oh, the pain.
You babbling booby.
Babbling baboonian. Oh, the pain. The
Oh,
pain
the
of it
pain, the
all.
pain.
Yes. I did not know because I think Rob Paulson also did Jonathan Harris for God, what was that one? What's that one show that I used to watch? But I know he did the Jonathan Harris a couple of times. It's like, oh, Bobby dear boy, you'll never stop
Oh, no.
me. Oh, the pain.
If you have a chance, the Conan had him on as a guest in when Conan had his show, and it's
Oh
just
yeah.
amazing. And Conan is practically peeing himself. He's just so happy.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, how would you react if you got to interview somebody like Jonathan Harris? Let's just
I
be
think he
real.
asked him one question, and Harris said, "Heavens, no, dear boy."
Heavens, no. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think it's Conan. Johnny Carson also had some great material as well. Like if you watch his interviews, it's just so great. The one that I often that gets a kick out of me were the ones where he did with like I mean he had Robin Williams on a couple of times, but he also had Charles Nelson Riley on. And that dude, Charles,
Oh yeah,
just
he was a character.
peak. Yeah. Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, because every time I do Charles, I'm just like, but then whenever I do Charles, I just try not to sound like Paul Lind. I mean, yes,
Yeah, I
everybody
love
just
Paul Lynde.
loves little Paul Lind. Oh,
Oh.
oh, I think you're oh, Mr. Dean Martin, I love you, son, but I think that coat of yours is kind of shaves a little bit.
It
Oh my
was all it
gosh.
was all code talking
Code talk.
because
Yeah.
you couldn't be straight up out of the closet in those days.
Exactly. Yeah, but nowadays it's like no subtlety. Just
Yeah.
go for it.
Everybody got the code.
We got it. We all got it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, just take steal from like, somebody that you love and admire, and then just do steal that for a character that you might use for a
Well, that
cartoon.
was essentially Hanna-Barbera's business model.
Exactly. Yeah, I
Yes,
was about to say
every
Hanna-Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera show was based on a popular sitcom or a
Yeah.
popular character.
Yogi is just from Art Carney from the Honeymooners. Hey,
Yogi's
boo
Art
boo.
Carney, hey boo boo.
Hey, boo 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 boo.
Huckleberry Hound to a degree was Andy Griffith.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
Uh, Quick Draw McGraw.
I
The only possible suit they ever had was what was
Snagglepuss?
Snagglepuss,
Yeah.
sued by
Heavens
Bert
to
Lahr.
Murgatroyd.
Heavens, the
Put 'em
Murgatroyd.
out.
Exit stage left.
Yeah, which one of you want to go first? Oh, a wise
I'll
guy,
fight you
eh?
both together.
Together, quadruple seven.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's clearly Bert Lahr, the
it
Cowardly
really
Lion.
is. I didn't even
Yeah,
know it was Bert. But then I watched Wizard of Oz and I'm just like, oh, yeah, that's definitely Bert. The
yeah.
Cowardly Lion.
And the
Uh,
Flintstones is absolutely the
it's just
Honeymooners.
the Honeymooners. It's literally just the Honeymooners. Way back when.
Yeah.
But audiences wouldn't know what it is because, well, they don't really, unless if you're watching a channel like MeTV or TV Land, you wouldn't know what these shows are
And
nowadays.
Top Cat was based on a popular show called The Phil Silvers Show.
Oh yeah, Phil Silvers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him on that show and It's a Mad Mad World, that
Oh,
all-star
he's
movie
great.
with,
Great film.
yeah, so many, just an all-star cast, unbelievable.
Yeah. Phil Silvers is the fast talking New York Sharpie.
Yes. Hi,
Yeah.
I got a couple of
Come on, snap it up, boy.
souvenirs.
Come
Come
on,
on,
come
snap it up,
on, come
boy.
on.
Come on. I got a customer to weasel out here. You know, you got the time. I'm like you. I could sue you. I could ruin you. Oh, you keep it a minute. Yeah, just really fast talking, which kind of took me a while to really start getting the hang of. Because if you got a character that can talk really fast, I'll just kind of pull up Phil Silvers or just start talking really fast, like Speedy Gonzalez. I did it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a skill. But yeah,
Yeah, and that segues in the whole realm of cartoons you can't really do anymore. You don't really want to show them anymore. Because
oh my
times have
God.
changed. I'm not
Yeah,
decrying that. I think times have changed for the better.
yeah. I think
The
for because I was about to say Pepe Le Pew
Pepe Le Pew.
or all of the blackface gags that they used to do in
Oh
those.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, when you're a kid, it's like, ah ha ha, Pepe Le Pew is kind of funny, but then when you're an adult, it's like,
Like,
uh, yeah, pretty much Harvey
hey Pepe,
Weinstein.
you ever heard of consent?
I mean, I'm just like, look, our humor has kind of changed over time, because for audience, because keep in mind, these were also shown in audiences, like in theaters, like they made cartoons pretty much for themselves, but it was shown in front of a live audience, so audiences back then may have a different type of humor than if you're watching it today, where if somebody is, watching, because the parents that are watching the cartoons when they were kids, they're watching with their children. And, that kind of brings to mind of like, oh, what should they be watching? Or should we just shove an iPad or something in front of their faces all day long? You know what I'm saying? So, content and streaming, all sorts of stuff that we watch now has definitely kind of changed for better or worse. But
Yeah.
yeah, we keep on evolving or devolving over time, whichever choose your pick. But yeah, it's like they always say that times don't last forever, and yeah, I think it very much applies to, as we're now into the 2020s, as we keep getting a lot of these catastrophic and just outright um tumultuous changes that are just happening in society. I mean, I could just go on and on about that, but yeah, different folks means different tastes of humor, different strokes, or so have you. I
Well,
think that's kind of like my takeaway out of, that little spiel I just gave
what
out.
what I'll have to say is I liked Al Green as a singer, and I like Al Green as a congressman, and We
Hmm.
need 50 more Al Greens to stand up and wave their
Hmm.
cane.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, I really would just continue chatting with you all day if I have to. But I do have a last couple of questions that I have for you, which is
Yes,
like,
yes.
yeah. So what is something that has been really helpful to you in the process of this new age where I guess I mean, since you started voice acting like not too long ago, but when it comes to showbiz, since you've been doing it all your life, what is something that has been really helpful for you when it comes to, navigating to the many different changes in a post-pandemic world, per se?
Well, I'll share this, and maybe this will answer your question a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, I'm grateful to say I was brought in to do some dubbing work for a Netflix show.
Nice.
And NDA, I can't say the show, whatever. But they brought me in
Yeah.
to dub the lead character, and I was really delighted, and it was a lot of fun. And one of my aha moments is, a lot of us outside of show business or new to show business see the glamour and all this and blah blah blah. But it really is just showing up on time, doing your best work, not being an asshole, and leaving. I mean, that's it. You, what I'm trying to say is it isn't unlike being a carpenter or sanitation person or a cop or any other job. It's a job. You show up and you do your work, and if you're good at it, they'll ask you back to do it again. And don't be a prima donna and thank everyone and leave. That's it. Can you get the job done? Great. You're valuable to us.
Yep, right on. Which is something that I feel a lot of us should really know more. Just don't be a prima donna, don't be a jerk, and, just be just be pleasant. Just be somebody that is a low maintenance issue, as they say. Yeah, I think that's pretty much how you
Yeah,
sort of
and we we
phrase
all
goes.
we all
Yeah.
have, we all have our wounds that we're walking around with
Yeah.
underneath. Particularly, I think maybe a little more for those of us who've gone into entertainment or creative artists, where I've always thought the path of the artist is to transform pain into beauty.
Yeah. So
And,
would you say, oh,
it's a
sorry.
valuable thing to society to give us entertainment, give us artistic expression,
Yeah.
poetry, storytelling. It feeds souls. So,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that what we do as creative artists is valuable.
Yeah. And would you say it's the most creatively fulfilling and just definitely something that feeds your soul?
Definitely feeds my soul. I mean, I have to do this. I have to write and tell stories and perform. It's a calling, and
Yeah.
I'm happier when I do it. So,
Yeah.
you
There's
know,
I mean, there's a lot of self-care stuff, like, you could go outside, which is obvious, but doing recording and playing these different characters, I mean, just getting to wake up and just be like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting paid to do this, but I'm having
yeah,
fun and
yeah,
I'm loving this job. That's that's something that's really gonna
yeah. And if you can
go
get paid
substantial.
for something you like
Exactly.
doing, you've solved work.
Exactly. Because we can all think about the hurdles and all these different challenges that we encounter on a day-to-day basis, but at the end of the day, what makes us very, very, very just so having fun with just not just with yourself, but also with all these amazing people that you work with. And I don't think we've really even got to any anecdotes about any of the because you've done this for so long. I mean, like just getting to work with so many people that are in the showbiz industry is like, you know, it just makes it all the more worthwhile at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
that's definitely a fun part of it. Getting to
Yeah,
collaborate and getting to play with other people who've come to play.
exactly.
You know,
So
that's
feel
what we
free to
did as kids.
Exactly. So feel free to share or just promote anything that you're the most excited about at this time. What is something that we can expect to see from Mr. Art Brown in 2025?
Lots of audiobooks on Audible. I have a few in production, post production that are coming out. Um, I'm working on, I'm in the beginning stages of a new children's book. So I'll be promoting that by and large. But if you like cartoons and you like to laugh, everything I need to know I learned from cartoons by me. And you can buy it on Barnes and Noble, Amazon, wherever fine books are sold.
Right on. And where can people check out your stuff? Any socials? Where can
Oh
we
yeah,
find?
I'm on all the social networks that all the kids go on, the MySpace, all the things,
Oh, I'm not too sure about
the
MySpace, but
AOL
yeah,
market.
yeah,
No, I'm
AOL, we're going way back when, yeah.
you've got mail.
Oh,
Art
rest in
Brown
peace to
VO,
yeah,
artbrownvo.com.
yeah.
That's
Also,
artbrownvo.com.
yep. Let me know if anybody still has a MySpace, and also, Godspeed to the AOL dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a couple of people who still have AOL email addresses.
I mean, yeah. So it's never really died. It's just, with all these new hot TikToks and the Instagrams and all this
Do
other
you remember the
thing.
1200 baud modems? And
Oh, man. You remember when we had phone books? That was how we found out about. Apparently, you can use phone books to stalk Mel Blanc. Don't do that. But yeah, that's
yeah,
Bob Perkins'
according to
story.
Bob, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we had those dang old fidgety phone books, so
Yep,
anything's possible.
back in the olden days. And I remember when the horse and buggy went away because everyone wanted to drive one of them Model Ts, one of them newfangled
Stop.
horseless carriages.
Oh, man. Yeah, I remember back when we used to actually have these little VHS tapes that you could just
Oh,
get in a
yes.
video store and not have to do this Netflix, not have to rent them online or no
Well, you
Redbox or
could
whatever
go
the
down to the local pharmacy
local
and buy a
pharmacy.
pound of marijuana for a
The
nickel.
local pharmacy. Stop.
And you
Oh my God.
tell the pharmacist, throw in a little LSD in that, will you?
Oh,
And he'd say, that's another penny.
you've heard it here, folks. Do drugs. Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. That's right.
You
Unless
don't
you
want to
share
end up.
'em.
You don't want to end up like a cartoon obsessed nerd like me, or Art, or both
That's
of us,
right.
really. You don't
Damn
want
it.
to end
And
up
get
being.
off of my lawn, you kids.
Yeah, get off, you crazy
Get the
kids.
hell off of my
Yeah,
lawn.
yeah.
But leave your
Mm,
drugs.
mm, all that stuff. So yeah, any last bit of advice or any final thoughts that you want to close out with before we?
Always look on the bright side of life.
Yeah, perfect.
I would
That's
say
probably
my final words are thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast and go for your dreams. Time's a ticking, babe. Go for your dreams and figure out a way to, build castles in the sky, but put ladders underneath them. Figure out the marketing and the business model and whatever. But, your our chief enemies in this world, our chief enemy is time. And time will always win in the end. So what do you do with it? What do you want to do with it? If you're in a job you hate, find a way to quit. Find an economic way to quit and do what you love. And
right on.
tell them Robert told you that.
Yeah, send people coming after me, man. Oh boy.
Hey
Okay.
man, why'd you give me that bad advice, man?
Yeah, you got. I imagine people just being like, "You gave me bad advice. How dare you unsubscribe?" But yeah, would you like to do an outro for the show?
Sure. What would that sound like? How
My
would
name is
that be
Art
structured?
Brown. I've done da 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 list of projects, and this is Station Square Podcast with Robert Jackson. And if you'd like to hear some Looney Tunes characters, go for it. It's all yours. The floor is yours. I don't mean to put you on the spot like this, but take it away.
Hey, Doc.
You're listening to Robert Jackson's podcast, and it's on what?
It's Station Square podcast with Robert Jackson.
Oh, it's Station Square podcast, and it's really wonderful. And isn't you know what Elmer's line that cracks me up? It's from every time I hear it. It's from a corny concerto, which
Hmm.
was Looney Tunes like homage to Disney's
Fantasia, yeah.
Fantasia, correct? And one of the pieces, he comes down in a tuxedo. He says, "Wasn't that lovely?"
Uh,
Arthur Q. Bryan. Yes. So, thank you for having me on the podcast. This is Art Brown, artbrownvo.com. And book is Everything I Need to Know I Learned from Cartoons. I love doing this. I can't imagine doing anything other than playing and helping people laugh. And uh, this has been a wonderful podcast. I don't know if that's the structure you're looking for the outro, but
That's what I got.
you know what? Anything works. So yeah, thank you so much. And anything else, or we good? I don't know.
I think we are good. This has been a lot of fun, and we will connect in the other venues where we connect, like Paul's website,
Yeah, and
vopro.com.
I was just about to say there's plenty of great resources out there. There's the VO weekly work. There's a lot of different stuff out there, but definitely check out the Larry Hudson group that he
Larry
does,
Hudson.
accountabilities. Let's see what else. There's also the voiceover academy with Corey Rhymes, and there's plenty of other stuff out there
This
like season.
industry is lousy with coaches.
And most of them are good.
Yeah, a good few of them. But anyways, definitely do your research, get coaching, training, be the best actor you could possibly be. Go get it. Just do it.
And
I'm
learn
running out of
marketing.
advice.
There's a lot of great coaches teaching marketing, and that's so important.
Yeah. Or just watch my previous interviews. How's that?
That works too. That works too. It has
Anyway.
been a pleasure, my friend.
Yeah, it's been such a pleasure. Now I'm always watching you, Artie. Always
I'm always watching you
watching.
too. And now I'm gonna order a nice pastrami sandwich and have a cream soda with it and a pickle. It'll be wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm
it's gonna
Gumby,
be
damn it.
yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be huge. It's
Fabulous.
that fabulous.
You'll be swell. You'll be great. Gonna have the whole world on a plate.
You'll be sorry. Anyways, take care, y'all.
All
Bye.
right.
Thanks for listening to us goofballs for like an hour. But it
Absolutely.
is what it is.
Now go do some work, damn it.
Do your homework. Go read a book and go outside or something. Go to a beach or a whatever.
Jetson, you're
You're
fired.
fired. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Spacely.
Jane, get me off this crazy thing. Get
Jane!
me off this crazy podcast.
Jane, stop
Jane.
this thing.
Yeah. Yeppa dabba doo. I'm out of here. Bye bye.
All right.
Live long and prosper. Peace.
Live long and prosper, my friend.
Right on. Right back at ya.